The information is presented for educational purposes only, is not intended to diagnose or prescribe for any medical or psychological condition, or to prevent, treat, mitigate, or cure such conditions. This information is only presented herein for entertainment and educational purposes only. Living Waters Wellness Center was formed after we discovered how to heal my own body from the multiple symptoms, including allergies, asthma, chronic fatigue, back pain, psoriasis, acne, hives, yeast infections, and finally, cancer. After 20 years of trying numerous different treatments, everything from medical to cleanses, iridology, muscle therapy, acupuncture, acupressure, homeopathy, naturopathy. These experiences led us to discover the recipe that became known as the 4 Natural Laws of Healing, combining multiple natural healing modalities to fully detox, cleanse the body, and then allowing the body to take the perfect nutrition to fully restore the body back to its innate health. This became known as the 10-Day Healing Retreat. We have helped thousands of people just like you get their health restored so they can live their life to the fullest extent. If you want to know what that looks like, go to livingwaterscleanse.com and click on the video 4 Natural Laws of Healing, or call the office at 208-378-9911. Good morning, everyone. David DeHaas from the Whole Body Detox Show. Thanks for joining me today. Today we're going to be talking a lot about gut issues and especially parasites. This has been the week of parasites for us here in terms of just customers coming down and complaining of gut issues, brain fog, and so forth. And one of the big things that they've expressed to me, the clients this week, this is different for everybody, but they could actually feel them in their gut. In this case, they were actually seeing them come out in the toilet. In fact, interesting story about all this is that a couple of these gals have taken their parasites out of the toilet, put them in a jar, taken them down to their doctor, and had them tested. And now this happens all the time. I've had many people over the years have their parasites that they actually had in a jar tested. And the results came back, no parasites. But yet, there in the jar is clearly a parasite. And even the doctor in this case admitted, yeah, those are parasites. But yet the test, and I don't know why that is. Over the years, over the last 13 years we've been here at Living Waters, we have seen this many times. So if you're experiencing any kind of gut issues, brain fog, parasites can be definitely a factor. Parasites are pooping and peeing and laying eggs, and they're causing all kinds of havoc. The busiest time of the month for parasites is usually full moon when they're laying their new babies. So if you're experiencing some angst or anxiety, depression, or just doing crazy stuff around full moon, you'll know it's the parasites. Parasites are energy beings. And I know for some of you this will sound, well, how could that be? And many times over the years I've had people come in, well, I got my parasite because I went to a foreign country. I'm going to tell you, parasites are everywhere in the world, not just limited to some foreign third world country. They're here in the good old USA as well. And you don't pick them up because you see them, right? You can shake someone's hand, be in a public restroom. If you have pets, if you eat pork, you're going to have parasites. If you're eating raw sushi, you're going to eat parasites. In fact, not too long ago, I had a client that had parasites in his brain, actually 2 clients, and it was severe. Man, they were literally holding on their brain, moaning, screaming. They were high parasite load. The one client stuck with us for 21 days, and we used all the tools. And when I say all the tools, we're using herbs. We have a special zapper. We have a pulse frequency machine that has the different parasite frequencies in it. And we're using the herbs as well. So we're using all these things, including some of the emotional and mental tools, because if you think about it, how did you create the happy home for these parasites? Well, you probably ate something, but emotionally, I believe, you can attract them as well. Now, as bizarre as that may sound to a few of you, I have, over the last 13 years, I've come to believe truly that can be a huge component as well. So on our 10-day healing retreat, we address all of these issues. Now, if you want to learn more about, hey, Dave, what's your healing retreat all about? You're going to have to go to the website at livingwaterscleanse.com, click on the link 4 Natural Laws of Healing, watch that webinar, and you're going to learn more about the parasites, how you heal from within, how you're going to clean out the largest detoxification pathway, your colon, get that cleaned out, because when the parasites eventually get bigger, they gravitate into the gut, where it's a great place to be fed. So to paint a picture in your body, you've got a colon about 5 to 7 feet in length. And on the right-hand side, if you reach down low below your ribs there on the right-hand side, you're going to feel where the small intestine dumps into the large intestine. And now fecal matter in that case is mostly liquid coming out of there, and now it's got that muscle has got to do what they call peristalsis. That means the squeezing of the muscle, moving the fecal matter up to the transverse colon that's going across just under the top of your ribs, over and then down the descending colon, and then out through the rectum. And that takes a process, and your colon recirculates about 2.5 gallons of water per day. So for those of you who are using things to get you to poop, like maybe some Miralax, or you're using a bunch of salts, magnesium, for example, what you're doing is you're stimulating your body to move that out quickly. And the reality is you're going to get more constipated as life goes on because you're literally fatiguing that muscle. What you want to do is come in, hydrate the muscle. And most of us walking around are super dehydrated. You're not drinking enough water per day to begin with. And then if you're using, the salts and the magnesiums to clear out the colon, then you're going to have less water in the colon, and you're going to get a tissue that's going to be more dehydrated. And now for those of you who are constipated, you're going to maybe have some little fecal matter laying in there for years and years possibly. And when that does that, that can literally get in there and create what they call a little diverticulitis. And that is basically a pooched out pocket of poop in the tissue. Now, the only way to take care of that, besides surgery, which you do not want to do, ideally, is water. So colonhydrotherapy is your buddy. Colonhydrotherapy, if you want to learn what that is, go to our website, livingwaterscleanse.com, and go right there to the modalities and click on how to do a colonic. And we'll show you how a colonic is actually done. It's very easy, very gentle, very, very private. You're in the privacy of your own room. You're all covered up. You're not on display at all whatsoever. It's very private, and it's very easy to do. It's no different than going to the bathroom at home, only you're on a specially made bed. It's all set up. You have control of the controls. You can turn them off, lessen the flow of the water, etc. So great tool to hydrate that muscle, get peristalsis working again. And if you're constipated, which so many of you are, really the most inexpensive, highest return on your investment dollar to get that moving again and, create yourself a better life long term is do colon hydrotherapy. Well, David, isn't it just a pathway? Yes, it's more than a pathway though, because you've got more neurons in that colon and small intestine than you do your spinal column. Every organ in your body connects to the colon and small intestine. Now, when I say colon, I also mean large intestine. They're synonymous words. So if you think about it, if you watch the video, you're going to see all the different nerve connections to that colon, small intestine. So sometimes when people come in and say, gee, I've got lung issues. And by the way, this current flu pandemic that's going around, it's a lung issue, right? So it's not unusual when I have people come in with that we get them on the colonic bed and maybe they're coughing or wheezing or they're having trouble breathing. When we hydrate that colon and get that pathway opened up, then the pleural cavity and the lungs can start draining out. And I'm going to tell you, I've seen people come in here in just 1 or 2 colonics. All of a sudden, they're breathing better. They've got better oxygen. And it's just they're sleeping now because they've got that stuff out of their body. The other thing is that mucus can build up in there, and you don't want that mucus. So you don't want that sludge in your gut. You want to move it out so that you can hydrate properly. Not hydrate properly so that you can eliminate properly. You want to hydrate properly so you can eliminate properly is what I meant to say. So anyway, that's what you want to do. Colon hydrotherapy for the win. Big, big win. I got to tell you, the first time I ever done it, I did my first colonic. I was just like amazed. I'm like, wow, I feel so much lighter. I feel refreshed. I feel like, geez, this is great. And it is. Most people get off the client bed saying the same thing that I did the first time I did it. Now, a few of you might experience a little nausea while you're on their bed, and that's just because your body's pushing out toxins, and it's all good. But I'm going to tell you, it's really freeing to do that colonic and get this stuff out of the trunk. It's really important to do that, especially if you want to live well. So this came up this week as I had a client that, we're a little worried about the money issue and doing cleansing, and of course the question came up, well, how do you want to live? I mean, you're in pain. And I don't know why us human beings do this, But we'll find out all kinds of reasons why we shouldn't do something to benefit ourselves. But, my take on life is, I don't want to be existing, retire at 65 and just sit around waiting for death's door or just doing a bunch of retirement things, right? I want to live well. If you want to live well, you got to put colonhydrotherapy as part of your ticket to get better. Pure and simple as that. Hey, we've been talking for a bit here. We're going to come back on the break. Before we go, hey, I want to remind you that one of my other little jobs, well, we're going to come back in a minute. I'll explain it more on the other end. You've been listening to the Whole Body Detox Show on KIDO Talk Radio. I'm your host, David DeHaas. And by the way, we had some great talks here in the past, especially when we learned about what vaccines do to your body. One of the most downloaded podcasts of our time was with toxicologist Ashley Everly, which was about 3 or 4 weeks ago. You'll find that at wholebodydetoxshow.com. And some other great episodes up there, including Dr. Martin Paul, who talked about the dangers of EMF. Hey, we'll be back in a moment. Thanks for listening. Stay tuned. I'm David DeHaas from Living Waters Wellness Center. Welcome back, David DeHaas from Living Waters Wellness Center on the Whole Body Detox Show. Last segment, we're talking about parasites. And, parasites are very, very prevalent in our society. And if you read any of Dr. Hulda Clark's research, especially when it comes to cancer, and we see a lot of clients come in with cancer, her take was that if you want to get rid of cancer, get rid of the parasites, you'll be in remission when you start. Now, there's a couple tools besides doing I shouldn't say besides. You need to really, if you really want to get rid of parasites, you're going to do the 10-day healing retreat, period, end of story. Because we have so many tools we use. But with that said, between now and when you can actually come in and do that, there are some other tools that you can use. We have what we call the Zapper Kit, and it's a bottle of herbs, and it's also a little zapper that you can just put on your body. And you really won't feel anything usually. Sometimes people can experience a little bit of a tingliness, which means parasites are right there near the surface. But usually you don't feel anything. You just put it against your skin. You wear it as long as you can stand to wear it. You really don't feel anything. But it's sending out a little frequency bugs don't like. Now, the herbs are going to help kind of knock them loopy a bit. But I got to tell you, our pulse frequency machine that we use here at the office is very powerful, very specific for parasites. And we got to couple that with water, the colonhydrotherapy. Unless you're doing colonhydrotherapy, and I got to tell you, I've had so many clients over the years, some very, very knowledgeable in parasites, read all the literature, did all the things, bought the herbs, et cetera, and then they come to Living Waters expecting not to see parasites, and what do they get out? 6-foot tapeworm, 10-foot tapeworm, rope worms, hookworms, liver flukes. And they're like, what? I should be clean. I've been taking these herbs. I've been doing this. Yes, those do help. But you've got to give them all the things, all the tools to get rid of the parasites. And you want to get rid of them. It causes you to do, like I mentioned last segment, things you would never think of doing. And it causes a lot of angst. Now, the other thing you can be doing on a daily basis is just eating some raw garlic. So garlic's antifungal. It's antiviral and antibacterial. So garlic is a cheap, inexpensive way to help keep the parasites at bay. And I just take a clove, I take the flat end of my knife, and I just press down on the clove, and that kind of springs off of there, and that paper tissue comes off. It's not paper, but that tissue comes off. You got the garlic there. Chop it up, and you can either take it in some applesauce or just spoon it directly in and swallow it down with a glass of water or juice, whatever you want to use. So really important to do that. Now, some people say, oh, I don't want to take garlic. I'll start smelling like garlic. Well, your body's going to balance out, and you're really not going to smell like garlic. I can trust you on, trust me on that because I've been doing garlic for a lot of years. And so, which brings me to my next thing, body odor. If you're experiencing body odor, bad breath, halitosis, that is an internal digestive problem. In other words, you're full of poop. And by the way, those of you listening to this show, the average person is packing 10 to 14 pounds of poop. Old poop. Could have been there for 20, 30, 40 years. However, long time. And it's really important to get that stuff out and you'll feel better immediately. With that said, it's important to understand that to get rid of this body odor, so I want you to think about this. When you've got old poop laying in there, it's kind of squishing in the tissues, right? And now there's blood vessels in there, and some of that stuff's going to squish into those. It's going to go into the lymphatic system. So I want you to make a picture in your mind And it's, by the way, in the video that you need to watch, 4 Natural Laws of Healing, you can get that on the website, livingwaterscleanse.com. Go watch that video. I show you how the lymph nodes are going to pick up the interstitial fluid from your blood. It's going to pick that up, and it's going to take it up and eventually dump it into a vein. Now, there's these little tiny nodes. They're very tiny, these lymph nodes. You have about 800. They're around your colon. They're up your back, under your arms. So for those of you who have had friends who have had breast cancer and they've taken out some lymph nodes, the lymph nodes did their job. They did the thing they're meant to do. The problem is you weren't moving enough, shaking enough, and moving that lymphatic on so it dumps into the vein, which takes it then to the liver, and the liver deals with some of this junk. Now, what you end up having here, if you're not doing colonhydrotherapy, is you're just recycling debris. And for some of you, you've now got a fatty liver because of all this junk that was left in the trunk, left in the colon, small intestine, squeezing the tissues, picked up the lymphatic, taken up to the body, up to the chest, dumps into that vein up on the right side. If you press up your upper breastplate, that's where that vein is. Dumps into there, goes the liver. And the liver's going like, dang it, I got so many things to do today. I got to help regulate the hormones and the thyroid and all this stuff I got to do. And you're throwing more toxins at me. Plus, you just ate some non-organic bread, which is full of glyphosate or Roundup Ready wheat. Now I've got glyphosate to take care of. I got all these pesticides. And if it's any summer like last summer where we're breathing in all this massive toxic stuff from the fires, your lungs are taking a hit. Your body's just trying to deal with all these toxins at once. And next thing you know, you're going, God, man, I'm kind of tired. I'm kind of fatigued. And you go to the doctor and he says, well, your liver enzymes are off and you got a fatty liver. And no, it's not a fat liver, guys. It's just a toxic liver. You've got a toxic liver. Your body's toxic. So your body's trying to get to homeostasis, trying to get to balance. But it can't if you're toxic. How are you going to clean it out? How are you going to clean it out? There aren't enough pills in the world to clean out the body. You can take all the bran muffins you want, and all you're basically going to do, especially if you're constipated, is just make it worse. Okay? We've got to add the colonhydrotherapy. You've got to get that water in there. We've got to clean out that toxic matter. Now, one of the tools we use at Living Waters is a thing called the T-zone machine. And you can see this on the website. But this is a great way to give yourself a lymphatic detox. Now, what you're going to do is that machine oscillates much like walking. And it's going to vibrate that body 30 contractions a second. And when it's doing that, it's helping move that lymphatic fluid. Because remember, the lymph system has no pump whatsoever. Your pump is you're supposed to be moving in about, but too many of us are in these sit-down, sedentary jobs, and we're not moving throughout the day. No one's jump roping anymore. We're not getting on a trampoline. We're not running, 5 miles to herd some cows or some sheep. We're not doing any of that stuff anymore, right? Most of us. We're sitting down too much. And so now, all of a sudden, that the lymph's doing its best job, but pretty soon just sitting in there, putrefying and rotting, and it's harming your immune system. So if you want to boost your immune system, then you got to clean it out the body. Colonhydrotherapy is going to be your best buddy to do that. Simple as that. You got to move that stuff and get that toxins moving. And then, of course, the other thing we do on the healing retreat is we're going to clean out that liver. We're going to get things moving out of that liver, get those toxins moving out of there. And when we do that, your liver is going to thank you. I've now done over 57 liver cleanses, and I'm still getting junk out of the liver. Not as much as I used to. Back in my cancer days when I had cancer, that first cleanse after that, it was pretty astounding how much stuff came out and how much better I felt after doing that. So if you want to feel better, you want to get a clear head, you want to have your body, your aches and pains go away, then you need to do some cleansing, some deep tissue cleansing. And guys, that's what we offer here at Living Waters Wellness Center. And we've got a very thorough program. When you come in on our healing retreat, it's a very personalized retreat for you. We don't take any big groups. You don't come in all at once. You're not part of one big group. We stagger the appointments during our 10-day span that we're here doing that retreat. And we do that because we want to give you the one-on-one time that you need. And when we do that, we find we have really, really good success. And if you want to look about some of the success stories we've had, I've got hundreds of them on the website at livingwaterscleanse.com. Also on our YouTube channel. Again, if you just go on YouTube, search Living Waters Wellness, you're going to find it. And there's also some of these videos on our Facebook page at Living Waters Wellness, facebook.com/Living Waters Wellness. So you'll find things there as well. And we talk about this a lot when I did my interview with Dr. Ellen Tart Jensen, one of the first interviews I did last year. And Dr. Ellen Tart Jensen was the daughter-in-law of Dr. Bernard Jensen, who was the father of the 10-day cleanse, treated 350,000 people in his day. And he has amazing, miraculous stories, just like we have. Pretty cool talk. So you want to listen to that on the podcast, go over to wholebodydetoxshow.com and go back to last January 21, somewhere in there. It's one of the first ones we did. And it's one of our top listened to podcasts, of course. So, hey, we're going to be back in a moment. You've been listening to David DeHaas from Living Waters Wellness Show, host of the Whole Body Detox Show. Go check out that website, livingwaterscleanse.com. We'll be back for the third section in just a moment.
You can't treat the body and heal it a piece at a time. You have to treat the whole body naturally. That's why Living Waters Wellness Center 10-day healing retreat is so successful in helping what I call the incurables back to wellness. Here's what a few clients had to say about their experience at Living Waters Wellness Center.
For over a year, I've been dealing with gas pains, stomach pains, and it's been waking me up in the middle of the night, so I never get a full night's rest. And last night, after my first colonics, I slept through the entire night without any stomach pain or any kind of issues.
I suffered from migraine headaches for 12 years, once a month, and since I did the 10-day retreat at Living Waters Wellness Center 8 years ago, I have not even had a migraine. I've not even had a headache.
I had back pain on my left side for about 20-25 years. After the 10-day healing retreat, the pain is completely gone.
To learn more about the 10-day healing retreat, go to healingtheincurables.com or call the office at 208-378-9911. That's 208-378-9911. The preceding examples may not be typical of your experience. It may not be right for you. Seek the opinion of a
Thanks for sticking around.
Hey, we're going to talk about a lot in this issue about parasites, and now we're going to talk a little bit about lungs, because those of you dealing with COVID or long haul COVID, whatever you want to call it, the lung issues and getting your oxygen uptake improved, it's really important to clear out the mucus in your body. Of course, two ways to do that. You know, the first one, that's doing colonhydrotherapy. And it is really powerful to, get that mucus out of the body, get it gone, is you've got to open that biggest detoxification pathways, and you got to use colonhydrotherapy. Simple as that. We had a client, just a couple of success stories. We had a client that had just gotten over COVID, and oxygen was still down around 91, 92, not doing so great. And just so that you know, usually 98 is considered normal. So we ran a special treatment on the pulse frequency machine called the OnDemand. In addition to her doing the colonics, she was doing our 10-day healing retreat. And we ran that program for lungs. We have a specific program for lungs. And if you listen to my show last week or the week before, I talked about how I nearly died last summer. It's one of the tools I used to heal my lungs. And by the way, not only did I have a lung issue, but I had parasites in my lung. It's the dangest thing. Of course, if you remember the story, if you were listening last week, you might want to listen to it. It's kind of an amazing story. I still find it amazing. One, I lived. Two, what was going on at the time is I was cleaning out a really dirty old house, a lot of mouse turds and old dead mice and just a lot of dust, and it was just pretty gross. And anyway, I inhaled a bunch of stuff, and eventually I ended up, by running that program, I ended up coughing up these parasites. I would tell most of you, probably if you would have seen that, you probably would have hightailed it down to a hospital. Now, I've got a little more experience and don't get so worried about these things. I've seen some pretty doggone bad things over the years. And so of course, I'm a very optimistic guy, and I believe we can heal anything. I really, truly do. And like I said, I've healed my cancer. I've helped my dad heal his cancer. I've helped my mom. I've helped many people over the years have came in here, pushed in here, can't stand, can't barely walk, hardly talk. And we get them walking with a walker within 5 or 6 days, able to stand on their own. I mean, really tremendous difference right away just by getting that colon to respond. I mean, isn't that incredible? I got to tell you guys, I still find it amazing and incredible. But it is. It's really a fantastic tool. I truly believe, watching the thousands of stories that I've watched over the years come in here, as a lot of people, this is kind of like their last shot and their last hope. And to see them turn around is really one of the coolest experiences you can have. I'm going to tell you a story right now. This happened last month. this story is on our Facebook page. So if you go to search out Living Waters Wellness and like that page, that story should be there under reviews. So a gal came to me in December and she wanted to do the cleanse, but it didn't work out in December. So I hadn't heard from her. It was the day before the cleanse in January 9th, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I thought, what happened to her? So I gave her a call, and on the phone, when she picked up, this gal's crying. I said, wow, what's going on? She goes, well, I'm at the emergency room. My bladder's bleeding. I'm really in a lot of pain. And I said, well, let's do the 10-day cleanse. Let's get you better. And she'd been waiting for 20 minutes. She said, well, if they don't come and see me in a few minutes, I'm going to come down, but now I can't drive. I mean, I'm in so much pain. I've called my husband to come get me. And as soon as he gets there, I'll come down. So 3 hours later, she shows up. She'd gotten some pain meds to kind of knock the pain back a bit. But no other answers. And so she came and she says, okay, I want to do a colonic. And the first night, it was not fun for her. As she said later, she said, I talked myself off the edge in that first colonic many times. And she was really struggling. Had some constipation issues. And again, she had a bleeding bladder. So that was day one for her. She came back the next day and started the 10-day cleanse. And the bladder quit bleeding. And what was amazing is on about day 7, I think it was after the liver cleanse, day 7 or 8, she walks into my office and she says, David, look at my shoes. I go, yeah. And these shoes are kind of a little bit kind of sparkly or whatever. And she says, I wore these in my wedding 5 years ago with no socks. Look at me. I'm wearing wool socks. I can fit in these shoes. I can barely fit in them 5 years ago. I haven't worn them since. She says, I've lost 2 pant sizes. I've lost a full cup off my breasts. And of course, you can see in her face how much the inflammation went down. I mean, she was literally a different person. No pain. The inflammation's gone. Completely different. She's got a 8.5 by 11 inch piece of paper that is filled out. It's just all the different things that happened to her. It's really, really astounding. And completely, of course, changed her world. Anyway, very interesting change. And I've just got to read some of these notes. So her wedding Vans, that's her shoes, fit. They've never fit. Like I said, 2 drops in their size. My lats are smaller, no more linebacker. Lymph lines are slim. My upper arms aren't squeezed into my work shirts. My face is slimmer. My anxiety is absent, and I feel so I'm able to respond versus react. She cleared a lot of stuff emotionally as well, which is pretty cool. Sunday night, prior to beginning the 10-day cleanse, I had a serious bladder infection, complete with bleeding and pus as well as a horrendous pain. Within 3 days, the bladder infection resolved naturally with only pyridium to assist with burning. By the end of the 3rd day, pyridium was no longer needed. I never took the antibiotics the urgent care clinic prescribed. I contracted RSV on Wednesday from an uncle and husband, entering into the remainder of the cleanse with a tight cough, sinus pressure, drainage, lots of sneezing. I didn't use any over-the-counter medications to recover. Fevers every night from Wednesday through Tuesday the following week. Some laryngitis and residual coughs, congestion, but the worst is over. This respiratory cough triggered some asthma, but I only needed the inhaler medication 2 times. That's it. Emotionally, I feel better. I feel clear. I've missed this version of me for nearly 5 years. My insulin requirements appear to have dropped presently by 5%. And we see that, guys, a lot of times. And my muffin top is 75% smaller. Now, I had no clue what a muffin top was. So those of you who know that term, that's basically your belly kind of hanging over your belt. They call it a muffin top. I had to ask. I did not know what a muffin top was. The things you learn, right? But look, if you want to get better, if you're making a decision about how you want to live the rest of your life, why would you put off doing a 10-day cleanse any longer? Guys, it's all about what you're putting in your body and what's going out. If you're not eliminating properly, you're going to have an issue. Maybe not today, but you're going to have an issue. Live life to the best way you can. Be able to do things. Play with your grandkids. Do whatever you want to do. Run a marathon. Ski. Hike. Swim. Whatever it is. We had a gal years ago that came in here and she was in her late 80s and she says, you know what? I feel good now. I'm going to take back up painting. I'm going to start living my life again. And until then, she had just been existing. There's no reason why anyone should just be existing. Everyone should be contributing to society and living their best life. But if you've got inflammation, which everyone does to some degree. And all these diseases are simply inflammation. I'm going to tell you, to clear it out, you're going to have to do colonhydrotherapy. Like I said earlier, there's not enough supplements in the world to clear it out. And by the way, if you're taking a pile of supplements, I'm going to submit to you, you can probably reduce a lot of those, or at least make them very, very more effective if you still need them. If you've got the palate, or not the palate, the surface area of the intestinal tract is ready to receive. In other words, it's not impacted with old fecal matter, and now can grab those vitamins and nutrition into the bloodstream and take it to the cells. You're going to live a lot better, my friend. Hey, we'll be back in a moment. You've been listening to the Whole Body Detox Show with David DeHaas from Living Waters Wellness Center. Stay tuned. I'll be back on my Detox Show today on KIDO Talk Radio. Thanks for joining me. By the way, if you've missed part of this show, definitely go catch our podcast over at wholebodydetoxshow.com. And if you want to learn more about our processes at Living Waters Wellness Center, go to livingwaterscleanse.com, livingwaterscleanse.com, or call the office at 208-378-9911, 208-378-9911. Look, we want to live our best life. And I got to tell you, I can do more today at 64 than I could do when I was 33. Way more. It's amazing. I mean, I'm just in awe of what I couldn't do at 33 because I was stiff and sore and had all this inflammation, asthma, and allergies. Guys, I used to have severe allergies. I have no more allergies because I healed the gut. So for those of you who've got food allergies or allergies to weeds or grass or whatever, look, that's a gut issue. You've got to heal the gut. My mother was way worse in allergies than me. And her first 10-day cleanse probably cut them by 90%. It was amazing. I mean, she'd go to church, someone had hairspray on, she had to leave. Someone had some perfume on she didn't like, boom, had to leave. Go into a store someplace, boom, had to avoid somebody. I mean, this because it affected her so bad. But when she healed the gut, that went away. Simple tool, heal the gut. You're going to change your life forever. So go to livingwaterscleanse.com. Click on the video. But by the way, if you don't watch the video, don't come see me. Because you're going to ask me all the questions I answer in the video. Plus, look, you want to be empowered. You want to know how to heal your own body, right? You don't want to be second guessing and listen to some guru tell you blah, 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 and then second guessing yourself. No, get the data points. And I give them all to you in that video. And I've had some people tell me that they've watched it 2 or 3 times. I mean, there's a lot of data in that video. Watch it. If everyone watched it and applied the techniques in there, we'd cut the sick care cost by 75%. No doubt in my mind, after watching all the people get better here at Living Waters over the years. But look at it. We can only take a handful of people every month. We're starting our 10-day tomorrow this month, and the next availability is not until April. If you want to do the April cleanse, you need to call the office and put a down payment, book your spot. If you're a little unsure, come in, do a colonic, test the waters. If you're going to test the waters on doing colonics, I recommend you do at least 3 to 5. We know it takes at least 10 days to go all the way around the colon and clean it out. And for some of you, you may need to do a 10 colonics and a 10-day cleanse. I don't know until I see it. But we'll do a consult. I give the first consult for free. So don't be bashful about, but you got to watch the webinar and watch how to do a colonic. And you can get all that on the website at livingwaterscleanse.com. So do yourself a favor. Understand what the process is. And this should be just as natural. I mean, so many of you go out and you get your cars regularly maintained. You get an oil change every so often, right? Every 3,000 to 5,000 miles. Well, colonhydrotherapy should be one of those tools. You should be cleaning out your body regularly. I've done well over 550 colonics now over the last 25 years. So I'm a regular colonic user. And because it changed my life, it saved my life, it saved my family's life, changed the course of our history forever, our whole family. I mean, my dad was supposed to be dead from cancer 13 years ago. Going to turn 89 this spring. My mom, she's 82, severe allergies way down, cancer's gone as well. My father-in-law who had cancer had 4 months to live. He lived another 12 years. You get this inflammation out of the body, you're going to change your world. You're going to change your thinking. You're going to be able to think. And man, so many people just can't think. You got this brain fog. And I would submit to you, if you're an employer listening to this show, do yourself a favor. Get your people in here cleansing. You're going to increase productivity. You're going to increase your bottom line because your people are going to be able to think and react and earn and attract. What do I mean by attract? When you get the parasites we talked about earlier out of the body, parasites are energy beings, and they're pooping, they're peeing, they're creating all this havoc. And if you talk to hospitals and police departments, the cray-crays, that they call it, the crazies, are happening on full moon because of the parasites. So when we get rid of that junk, the body chemistry is going to change, and emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, you're going to change as well. You're going to have to be more calm. You're going to be able to take on life a little better. And so if you've got employees, you want your employees top notch, right? You want to be able to think. You don't want them sniffling. You don't want them having to suck down some sugar or go get a latte at 2 PM because they're tired, right? You want them being clickety, clickety, clickety. And if you want to be that, you're going to have to do colonhydrotherapy. There's not enough coffee in the world to equal what you can do by getting the inflammation out and getting your body functioning properly. It's all chemistry, guys. So you got to clean out the body. Now, what are you going to eat, right? That's the next thing people ask me. Dave, what are you going to eat? Well, we teach you that on the 10-day healing retreat, what to eat. But look at, when you go to the store, you want to buy the best quality food. Someone complained to me today, but the food, it costs so much more money. Okay, that non-food that you're consuming, that stuff in the boxes, that stuff that you're microwaving, and by the way, throw out the microwave. You're poisoning your own body. That is not food any longer. It's some toxic poison that your body's going to try to deal with. And your poor old liver is going to take the brunt of that. So no more microwave, guys. Every microwave in this town should be pulled out of the homes and destroyed. They're so toxic. Really, and I had to hear this. I get it. I had to hear this several times. And look at a little toaster oven. It may take you an extra minute to heat something up. Whoop-de-doo. Okay, you're saving your life. Now, get yourself a really good quality juicer. And I did a podcast with John Kohler about a year ago, and he has a website called discountjuicers.com. He's got a discountjuicers.com YouTube channel. He compares all the juicers, but I'm going to tell you, make it easy for you. Get a masticating juicer. I like the Omegas. They're a mid-range priced juicer, like $379 to $429 range. I mean, you can spend $2,400 on a juicer if you want. You don't need to. Use that money to buy really good quality produce and juice. I'm going to tell you my favorite drink right now. My wife and I bought some organic oranges not too long ago. We started peeling those up and running them through the juicer. What a difference. If you've been drinking orange juice out of a carton, stop. Because what they've done is they've taken, it says from concentrate, right? And then they've got usually some high fructose corn syrup in there. They've diluted it. It'd be like adding water to gasoline, right? We're going to give you not 1 gallon of gasoline. We're going to give you, 3/4 and the rest is water. Well, that's kind of what they're doing with oranges, right? Orange juice. Get the real oranges, juice them up yourself. It takes you like 2 minutes. It takes you 2 minutes to clean the juicer. I'm going to tell you that vitamin C hit is like candy. It's amazing for the body. And you're going to find you're going to start juicing other things. And that's going to lower the mucus in your body. And the micronutrients you're getting from this organic produce your cells are going to thank you. Your liver's going to love you. Your brain's going to love you. You're going to think clearer, quicker on your feet. Inflammation's going to deteriorate or decrease, not deteriorate, decrease. And you're going to be loving life so much better. And look at it. You're only on this earth for a short time. You need to take care of you. You. Because if you're well, then the people around you are better, and you can react to things better. You're going to be more calm about making decisions. And I mentioned that law of attraction earlier, and we talk a lot about that on the cleanse, is that when you get your body well and you get more calm and peaceful, and we teach you all those techniques on the cleanse, you're going to be a different person. You're going to attract the wonderful things into your world. And guys, we only live once, as I mentioned. Let's live it the best that we can. Do yourself a favor. Do some colonics. Do some deep tissue cleansing. Go understand what it's all about. Understand your body. Understand what you can do. For those of you who got hives and psoriasis and rashes and those things, look at that's all a toxic matter. Your body's storing it in the subcutaneous tissue and it's expressed through the skin. You can clear that really quickly. Hey, it's been so much fun having you here today. Thanks for joining me. If you missed part of the show, go watch it. Listen to it. A Whole Body Detox show. Listen to all the other 60 plus podcasts we got over there. Got a lot of great shows. I'll see you next week. I'm David DeHaas from Living Waters Wellness Center on the Whole Body Detox
Hi guys,
show.
we begin today's show.
on
I want to ask you to do yourself a favor. If you have been listening to the show for any length of time, I have done 5 shows on harmful effects of electromagnetic radiation from small cell towers. The D.C. Court of Appeals ruled in August that the FCC was arbitrary, capricious, and unlawful in stating that the towers cause no harm, as there are well over 18,000 studies showing harm. Boise and Meridian have failed to stop the deployment of these dangerous towers, and we have already seen people go into AFib, brain fog, sleep issues, and cancer. We must stop this, so Idahoans for Safe Technology is mounting a legal fund to go to court. We need your participation in raising money for the legal team. Go to idahoansforsafetechnology.org, buy yourself one raffle ticket or 100 raffle tickets, as many as you want, to win a side of beef. And if you want to know more about the harmful effects, go to last week's show where I interviewed our guest, Dr. Martin Paul, at wholebodydetoxshow.com. That's wholebodydetoxshow.com. Look up Dr. Martin Paul. You can't treat the body and heal it a piece at a time. You have to treat the whole body naturally. That's why Living Waters Wellness Center 10-day healing retreat is so successful in helping what I call the incurables back to wellness. Here's what a few clients had to say about their experience at Living Waters Wellness Center.
For over a year, I've been dealing with gas pains, stomach pains, and it's been waking me up in the middle of the night, so I never get a full night's rest. And last night, after my first colonics, I slept through the entire night without any stomach pain or any kind of issues.
I suffered from migraine headaches for 12 years, once a month, and since I did the 10-day retreat at Living Waters Wellness Center 8 years ago, I have not even had a migraine. I've not even had a headache.
I had back pain on my left side for about 25 years. After the 10-day healing retreat, the pain is completely gone.
To learn more about the 10-day healing retreat, go to healingtheincurables.com or call the office at 208-378-9911. That's 208-378-9911. The preceding examples may not be typical of your experience and may not be right for you. Seek the opinion of a qualified healthcare professional before determining if cleansing is right for you.